and wildlife conservation. Biodiversity is the term given to the variety of life forms on Earth. This includes the wide range of plants, animals and microorganisms in a particular area. Biodiversity forms the basis for human existence by regulating climatic processes, by decomposing waste and recycling the nutrients, filtration and purification of water, protection against flooding, maintains soil fertility, purifies air and provides natural resources such as wood, textiles and food for all. Loss of biodiversity means losing essential services that biodiversity provides and thereby prevents the passing of invaluable gifts of the future generation. Forests are considered as biodiversity hotspots, as forests are regions rich in different kinds of organisms. The different life forms found in the forest range from bacteria, fungi, ferns, flowering plants, nematodes, insects, birds, reptiles, etc. The main aim of conservation is to preserve the biodiversity we have inherited and thereby maintaining the ecological stability. When we consider the conservation of forests, we need to take a look at different stakeholders whose dependency on the forest resources varies. We can define stakeholders as people with concern or interest in something. The stakeholders of forests are people living in and around forests, industrialists or businessmen who are in the need of products obtained from forests to run their factories, forest department of the government, forest and wildlife activists. The local people who live in and around the forest are dependent on forest produce for various aspects of their life. Wood is used for burning while cooking and during winter seasons to keep them warm. Forests are sites for fishing and hunting. Fishing and hunting aids are also largely made of wood. They make use of wood to build huts. They gather fruits, nuts and medicinal herbs. They graze their cattle in forest areas or feed on the fodder which is collected from forests. These local people do not harm the forest. They do not cut down trees. Instead, they use small branches of trees. They have been living in forests for centuries and forest is their home, so they know how to take care of their home. Industrialists and businessmen. They consider forests as merely a source of raw material for their factories and they are not interested in the sustainability of the forest. These industrialists depend on various forest products that are raw materials for various industries. Example, the paper industry, lac industry, timber industry, etc. All these activities lead to deforestation. Deforestation wouldn't be a major problem if afforestation is done simultaneously. Forest Department. It's the government body which owns, manages and controls the forest resources. The major task of this department is to conserve forest and wildlife. Unfortunately, the forest department earns revenue from sale of timber to construction and furniture markets. The forest department destroyed huge biodiversity by converting forests into monocultures of commercially important plants like pine, teak or eucalyptus. Such forests are useful for industrial purpose only and it can no longer meet the needs of local people. Wildlife conservationists and enthusiasts. They aren't dependent on forests but are interested in conservation of forests in its pristine form. These activists want to preserve the forest because of their love for forests and wildlife. They also put demands before the government to protect the forest and wildlife. They encourage silviculture, which is a practice of growing more and more trees and plants to replenish the forests. The economic and social development we prefer will determine whether the environment should be conserved or destroyed. There are instances where various people have played an important role in the conservation and management of resources. Amrita Devi Bisnoy in 1731 sacrificed her life along with 363 others for the protection of Kejri trees in Kejrali village in Rajasthan. the Government of India instituted Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for Wildlife Conservation in her memory. Chipko Andolan. This movement originated in a remote village in Garhwal, high up in the Himalayas, during early 1970s. Chipko Andolan or Hug the Trees movement was resistant to destruction of forests, which was spread throughout India. It was the result of grassroots level effort to the end of alienation of people from their forest. The name of movement comes from the word embrace, as the villagers hugged the trees and prevented the contractors from felling them. The West Bengal Forest Department, with the help of a forest officer named A.K. Banerjee, was able to recover remarkable value of 12.5 crores from a previously worthless Sal forest in 1970. The villagers were given employment in both silviculture and harvesting operations. The active and willing participation of local community led to the recovery of Sal forest in Arabari. So now we know that forest and wildlife conservation is important to conserve the biodiversity of an area. If the stakeholders of forests like industrialists or businessmen make use of the forest in a sustainable manner, then ecological balance will not be disturbed.